Clarke County regular Board of Education meeting will now come to order. Ms. McNamara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mr. Payne.
Here.
Mrs. Davis.
Here.
Mr. Parks.
Here.
Mrs. Ellis.
Here.
Mr. Worthy.
Here.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Huff. Mrs. Thornton.
Here.
Here. Okay. At this time, I'd like for you to stand, join us in a moment of silent meditation. We'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Any amendments to the agenda?
No amendments, President Worthy, this evening.
Okay, I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please. A motion moved by Ms. Williams. I have a second on that, second by Ms. Davis. All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Before I move the agenda any further here, Happy New Year to all. And we have a new board member with us tonight. He's not so new. He's a retired educator, in fact, from this school district, and he's been attending board meetings on a regular basis. Mr. Greg Davis, would you stand and wave to the crowd?
That's right, here we are. You're here. Different landscape on that side of the table now.
It is.
A different landscape.
Okay, recognition of achievements and awards. We do have 6 awards tonight, I believe. Vanessa, step forward, please.
And just to note, we're going to just procedurally do this a little bit different, as Dr. Freeman is going to help Anissa distribute the awards and allow all board members to give full attention to our awardees on a regular basis.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. Tonight, I am pleased to honor many outstanding individuals from the Clarke County School District tonight. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake all of the board members' hands. Tonight, we will be recognizing the winners of the Athens Area Chamber of Commerce's first ever Young Entrepreneur Awards contest. And Clarke Middle School students swept this contest. 4 Clarke Middle School students, all young women, were among the 50 Clarke County School District 8th graders who made an attempt at the Chamber honor. And this contest is an initiative of the Chamber's new Education Committee. And so we are very pleased to recognize these students tonight. First up is the first place winner, Valeria Garcia Pozo. And we'll have the students stand right here for just a moment while I tell you about their project so they get to hear, because these are really incredible. Valeria's business idea was a computer app linking cancer patients, their families, their caregivers, and their doctors with information and other support linked to their specific concerns about the disease. She was inspired to develop the app as a result of a situation within her family. Her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 10. So she has made a difference for her family, and she has the potential to make a difference for families all over. And she received $250, a plaque, and the first place award was sponsored by Colwell Banker Upchurch Realty. Congratulations, Valeria.
Yes, it's so awesome.
Great job. Very proud of you. Fantastic.
Great job. That was awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. So proud of you.
Second place went to the team effort of Alice Watson and Sadia Hoke. And they can stand here, and I'll tell you that they created a body positive concept. It includes both a clothing line and a magazine aimed at combating the unrealistic body image issues with which many young women struggle. The idea is that the clothes would be made to flatter a variety of body types, and the magazine would include information designed to help girls accept themselves just as they are. As second place winners, they split a $100 cash award sponsored by Jackson Spalding. Congratulations.
Lady look good. That's real good. That's great.
That was a great idea. Congratulations. That was a great idea. That's so great. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. Great idea. I love it. Congratulations. What a great idea.
Ladies, congratulations.
And the third place winner was Haviland Ford. And she developed an idea for taking recycling to the next level. Her proposal called for the creation of recycling collection containers that would actually begin the recycling process, automatically separating the recyclable materials dumped into them and then grinding them up. And she received a plaque and $50 sponsored by Kofer's Home and Garden Showplace. Congratulations, Haviland. All of the contest participants were required to research their ideas, come up with a business plan, including a one-page paper on how their product or service would be marketed, and to produce a short video on their proposal. So this was much more than coming up with an idea. It was really an entire researched business plan. So we want to congratulate them. And we also wanted to recognize Sean Hinger and Michelle Vecchio Weinmeister. They advised the students. They couldn't be here, but we just handed off their certificates to Principal Tad McMillan, who is ever supportive of his students' endeavors. Thank you for being here, Tad. Again, congratulations to all of our winners. You continue to make us proud to be CCSD.
Dr. Lanu?
Yeah, and as well, just congratulations. I mean, we listened to your projects. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yes.
But I think what you're leading for right now is the whole concept of entrepreneurship. And if you didn't know that, let me reinforce the fact that the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Athens. And in fact is really well grounded in Athens and is probably going to be what I think heightened the most exciting direction for us to go. And if you keep going in this direction, we'll be reading about you in a year or in just a year. But just being really thoughtful and is pretty amazing. We're really proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lanu. You can continue with your superintendent's report.
I will. I'll sort of blend right into that. John Zahner is here. It is the president of our association, GSSA. I just want to say a couple words, and that's to Mr. Zahner. You know, thank you for all you've done for all of us in terms of supporting leadership across the state. And I know you've traveled here and there today to come join us. I'm just going to turn it over to you because I think it probably involves me. So I'm not going to.
I know you.
I'm not going to say anymore.
I know you very well, Phil. Thank you for inviting me on behalf of GSSA, Mr. Board President Worthy, Madam Vice President Ellis. I'm a former superintendent, so I know who to recognize right away. And then I come over to the remaining board members and thank you for your service and congratulations to join the party, because it's going to be very interesting, I'm sure. On behalf of GSSA, and I don't know if I was duped to get to be here, because I was told that the original award that I did give you broke, fell apart in some way.
Disconnected.
Okay.
How would that be?
Somehow it fell apart, so I had to reorder one. And that's why I'm here tonight, is to represent the award to Dr. Lanu for being selected out of 4 finalists, but out of a total of 30 participants who were recommended by their boards. And I want to make that very clear. The boards of education recommend the superintendent for this award. And through going through the application, those that are on the committee are former Superintendent of the Year award winners. So they know what to look for in the application. And we had 4 great finalists. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Any one of them could have been chosen. But Dr. Lanu was chosen. And you go next week, I believe, as also a national finalist, which we have nothing to do with. That is totally up to AASA, who is our parent organization. And they make that selection, and you were selected as a national finalist. So congratulations to you, your board, and the school community, because I think that represents quite an honor, quite frankly. I never got there as a superintendent, so I'm jealous. But congratulations, Superintendent Lanou and board members. And I'll walk over there. You don't have to walk over here to present you. Be careful with it, okay?
I'm going to give it to Terry.
I'm not gonna get you another one.
I'll glue it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, John, and again, thank you for taking the trip up here. And as we've said over and over again, this just reflects the collective work of all of us. I mean, we wouldn't be in this place if it wasn't for the board, making and supporting the decisions to help lead this district. Obviously, the staff that we have here, our building leaders, certainly our teachers. What happens in our classroom? And I'm going to go to our students. It really is about your work. And your work is our work. So we're in a good place. We got a lot of work to do, but couldn't be more proud to be in a community as Clarke County. So thank you very much, and thank you.
And I'm not being rude, but I do need to go home because
Go.
I haven't been home for a while.
You need to go. And the others, the warders, can please feel free. If you want to hang around for the board, that's okay. But I know you have homework and other things. Feel free to take care of that business. So if you want to do it at this time, it's okay. Okay. And thank you, Mr. McMillan. You're pretty proud tonight, I'm sure. Should be. A couple other items under superintendent's report. The first, let's just talk about the whole concept, because it was brought up about our board report structure. Typically now we have the director's report from Mr. Payne. Yep, just forgot a scarf. And so one of the questions that have been posed. Oops. Got it? Okay. Got the scar. We're good. One of the questions that have been posed is whether we should expand that because board members go to a number of functions. We have other standing committees and groups. And would it be important to either have a larger set list so that board members have an opportunity to share and report out on some of the work they're doing, and it could range from, do we want a brief report on committees that have met, that are standing committees? Do we want to set reports that are flexible, that we submit in advance like agenda because you've been to a particular event that's worth sharing as a board report? I think probably if you look back, we could do a better job of sharing that and maybe have a new structure. So I'd just like your thoughts of, one, whether we should increase the standing reports that at least I list. It doesn't mean they have to give them, but there's an opportunity, and what those might be. And should we consider that if a board member wants to report on something that they've been involved in from their capacity, can we add that as part of our agenda building, which we do with the president and vice president? Does that make sense? So just reactions to that.
Sure.
Reactions. Thoughts?
Well, normally when I travel, of course, Mr. Payne does too, to the NSBA, we bring a report back. So I think you're right on target with that.
So the first question, I guess, let me start with standing committees.
Okay.
Or standing reports. Right now we have PAB, which is a board member goes. Should we add that as a standing report? If there's no PAB meeting or nothing report, but we put it on our list. Mm-hmm. And the other one question, and I'm not sure this is what we should do or not. The other one is that we do have committees. Our policy committee, we've got a legislative committee, we've got finance committee, we've got property committee. Is there some value to adding those list of committees to have an opportunity to indicate to the whole board if they had a committee meeting? Is there any pertinent information that they feel they need to share with the full board? Because there's not really a good way to get that information from committees unless you read the minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Lou, I think that all the committees, the report is printed in our, we can read it off the e-pad.
yeah. And you can, I think because we have like the director's report that's verbal. I'm just trying to think, is there a reason why if we all can read reports, but for board members specifically, is it valuable that they have an opportunity to verbalize it?
Yeah, well,
That's all.
I have some reports from my 15 school district, and you have me down here for the night, but I won't be able to make that report until the next board meeting.
Right.
Because I'm in the process of visiting my 15
Sure.
schools now.
So I think what
So
we're
the
probably.
answer,
Go ahead, sorry.
sorry,
I'll let you.
thank you. I think it would be very valuable because it, again, kind of brings more transparency to what's happening in our meetings. And since we can't all meet and go to all of the committee meetings, a synopsis would be great. I think we do a good job with the policy committee because we either bring things forward and the full board has to see those. Finance, we always get Larry's report, we hear from them. But again, property committee, we have no idea what's going on there until something hits the table. So it would be nice to have an opportunity to vet some things before we have to make a decision.
Or to share with the public.
Correct, and I also think it'd be valuable, even though policy is much more out there. I agree completely. But sometimes there are policies that we need the rest of the board to weigh in on, and that would be an opportunity for that discussion. I think it'd be nice to talk about what happened in a PAB meeting, and just to have a place card for that if there was something brought up that was worth mentioning, that was important to mention back, or just to even mention what the topic of conversation was, and the mood, and how the parents were receptive to that. I just think it'd be nice to have a couple of different people, tell them what they're doing. And it's a good, like, letter E or whatever. Board reports would be a great place just to have your travel reports, Mr. Payne and Mr. Worthy, when y'all go to NSBA, and the rest of us when we go to GSBA and different things like that. So it just feels like an organizational tool and a place to be able to report back on the things we're doing.
I also think it's a good idea. I think that our constituents think we come here Thursday and Thursday, and we do nothing else but come here that first and second Thursday. And we are meeting in and out of the month. And I think when we sit here, it just looks like we're going through a routine. And people would like to know that we are involved, we are being articulate. And many of us go, I know Carol goes to a lot more stuff than I do. But I do think that even our constituents and our voters would like to see that we're like not just robots sitting up here rubber stamping stuff.
So we're talking about having this in the actual board meeting
Yes.
rather than the workshop. Is that what you're saying?
And just kind of a permanent place on the agenda.
I think it's twofold. It informs the board and informs the public. And you're right. I think the last thing we want to do is to have an hour and 2 hours of board reports. I mean, that would get rounded out.
No.
But I'm wondering if maybe as a start, and we can evaluate it. It's not like it's set in stone. What would happen is if I put all of the standing committees, do you know what I mean, with the chair, that they would report out on any work that they thought was pertinent from committees that may not have gotten to this piece, right? And if there's a board member that wants to report out on a conference they went to, we'd ask that be placed like we put agenda items.
That's
It would
right.
go to Amy or Terry a week beforehand, so when we sit down to do the tentative work session, you know what I mean? Or we could possibly even add it at the work session, I guess. But we just have a process that we don't just say, okay, anybody got any, it has to be anything tonight. But we'll deliver. We go through our subcommittees and any particular report. If it's NSBA, we get a particular report. If it's a conference that went to on entrepreneurship, I'd like to report out on that. Would that make sense? So it's
Great.
structured. We don't deviate from the.
I like that idea, and I think being able to call ahead of the meeting and getting on the agenda, that will keep people from rambling.
Right.
You know, somebody
Yeah.
may have this great idea and they want to just talk about it, but it needs to be on the agenda.
And we may start looking, it's going to be on the agenda, and we may put some time limits, so it's okay.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Maybe what would this be is you can put them ahead of time for the work session, and we can allow that if there's anything at the work session that someone's add that we don't have, that we'd allow us, we could simply add. Let's keep it an informal process, but formality when it gets onto the agenda, and we can just evaluate it.
Here we go.
Great.
So we're talking PAB, we're talking NSBA, and obviously GSBA.
We got
We've
to
done
do-
that all
right.
along, and the standing committees.
Yeah.
And I like what you said in terms of pertinent information.
Right.
You know,
We should keep it,
not something to
yeah.
waste folks' time.
that's right.
Okay.
It's an interesting, I want you to know that, I don't know if everyone's heard of the presentation style Ignite. It's a very interesting presentation that is exactly 5 minutes. And I'm not saying we do this, but when we talk about how we ramble, this is really interesting. It's a slide presentation where the slides are timed, 15 seconds each. And so the speaker, you can't click the slide. You got 15 seconds to go to each side. You design it around a set amount of time. So it's called Ignite, which means it's fast, it's furious, it's right to the point. I'm not saying we do that for our board reports, but it just made me think about how we ramble. There are some things we can do that are quite interesting. And I ought to practice them myself. So,
Yeah, we're gonna chew that slide.
all right, go.
You talking, okay.
I would just say to add on to this is one of the things that having been on the policy committee, but not on the policy committee now, is that, you know, when these policies come before us, it's nice when you're in the committee, you kind of, you know, the staff kind of tells you, well, why this policy is here. What, you know, a lot of the time it's just something to do with the legislature, and we have to do it, you know. But that, I don't know, that may be getting too deep into the weeds for a board meeting. But if you could do that in maybe a little more than 15 seconds, but
Right.
that does put more context and information out there as to what we're doing. So that's such a big piece of what we do.
I'd say, I mean, it's not like it's set in stone, let's try it, but I think after we do it once, we ought to say how, during our work session, how to go. Do you know what I mean? To be honest with ourselves, so. Okay, I'll work on that, Terry will work on that, we'll already put that, for the next work session, we'll put those sub-kitties and PAP and put them in there. Okay? One other piece, and Board Member Huff asked me to talk a little bit about Future Ready and Ed Connect, and that was my visit to the White House just before Thanksgiving. You know, what did that all mean? And in some of the literature that Mr. Worthy's going to just probably talk about, that he's put at our table, that the Future Ready was an initiative that was connected to President Obama's Ed Connect, which is that every student in the next 4 years are going to be connected on the internet and be able to access information and courses and connect with each other. I mean, that's what it was about. And it was a pretty amazing trip because there was, I think, 120 of us that were selected from around the country to be part of that consortia. We spent a day there. The morning began with President Obama actually releasing some of his top advisors, economic advisors, policy individuals to speak about what's happening around our country and what's their plan. It was followed by a meeting with the president in the East Wing. I would say honestly, I am not typically one that gets autographs or look to that, but it was pretty amazing to be at the East Wing with the president within 15 feet or whatever, and for the president to address 120 superintendents specifically about their role of Future Ready for the students of this country. So we did that, and then as part of that whole piece, he spoke to us for about 25 minutes. We took a pledge. It's called the Future Ready Pledge. It's one that we had taken. We had our iPads out. We all took it with him. And what it was our commitment to connecting all of our students in this country in the next 4 years. As a result of that, there were two others, the superintendent of Clayton and the superintendent of Hall County were there as well, and we initiated with help with Anissa. We drafted a letter from the three of us being Future Ready to our colleagues. It was sent out with GSBA and GSSA that our commitment for Georgia is that we'd pledge to connect our kids in the next 4 years. And it's quite amazing when you look up at the map. It's flickering, and it rolls through the counties and the districts that are coming online. And so it's a counter, and it counts them. So that was pretty exciting, and we formed our own network, and I assume the next move is that we'll be part of a regional consortia to begin to have conversations like we are about connecting our students. And then the afternoon was spent with several hours with our Secretary of Education, Artie Duncan, really talking about some of the questions that, or some of the concerns that we have about national policy and testing and et cetera. So two things. One, just to be in that ability to interact with that, and I was able to do so, and you know I don't be quiet, so and not quiet, but also the ability to network and already have a cadre of people around this country that range from the smallest region in Alaska to Massachusetts to Louisiana to North Dakota. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
So, anyway, that gives you a sense, because I haven't had a chance to really talk about that because we were so busy in December. But certainly was an exciting experience for me professionally, but it certainly is exciting for education. I know that's the direction we're going. So that's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Lanu. I have one item here under the superintendent's report. Board members, at your place, you will find an article that I read from Time Magazine, and it's connecting to what Dr. Lanu said a few minutes ago.
I read it. Wonderful article.
And to be honest with you, we didn't have a conversation about this.
No.
I just so happened to read this article from Time Magazine here on paperless classroom is coming. And of course, I underline on that first page that it's front and back, and exactly what he talked about a few minutes ago in terms of what President Obama is planning to initiate in the next 4 years. But anyway, I encourage you to read it. I found it really interesting, and this is why I wanted to share it with all of the board members. I was talking with Ms. Ellis about it on Monday when we met with the superintendent to go over the agenda, and she asked me to please give her a copy, but I said, well, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to share it with the others too. So I encourage you to read it, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Lanu, we're going to move the agenda. We're going down. Ms. Payne, you don't have a report tonight. You said we're down to item F.
Yeah. I have a question. With this new legislative committee, one of the things that needs to happen with this committee, and they can be proactive in all of the legislation going to be meeting, and one of the things that needs to happen, whenever you have district, I have 15 school superintendents and board presidents that I meet with, and one of the things that I find is very hard then to the small district is the fact that we're talking about, now Clarke County is moving ahead with technology. We're doing well, but some of those small districts are not. And one of the things the legislators need to do, and people in Washington, D.C., they need to have enough money for those people to have the hire people to come in there to help them to get started with this program.
Good, and that's what I was saying a few minutes ago, Mr. Payne.
That's what
This
needs to happen.
article is underlined there, and that's what the president planning to do.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Payne, because Mr. Payne is correct, and there's already a movement across our state, from the governor's office to the legislators that I wish I had a visual, but I don't. But if you can picture this, there's 4 levels, and the first level was to bring internet capabilities to every school district to a head end, or call it your central office. The level 2 was to bring internet from that head end out to your buildings. The third level is, once it gets in the building, is do your wireless routers, and the 4th level was is the devices. The state put $36 million in the grants, and we did receive $500,000 this year to put into our project. So I feel really good that the state has made a commitment, and I thank Bob Swigum. It's not enough yet.
No.
But they have started that they have increased our bandwidth for every school district for free by 300% already, and that's for free, and that will come in 15. So I think the state, I give a lot of credit to our state. We always can move faster, but I think you know, we're moving in the right direction, and there's a very clear plan of funding each one of those levels. I'm not sure we'll ever get to level 4, which is the devices, but my piece is if we got devices, something else ought to go. And do you know what I mean? And so that's really districts
Okay,
should
all
be really deciding how to leverage their own local resources.
We always seem to be ahead of the curve sometimes with, as far as the state is with technology, just because I guess with Clarke County. Are we with the rollout that we've done this year, are we evaluating how we're doing? Is there any way that we know how well the rollout is thus far?
Yeah, well, and I don't have.
And that might be a report.
Well, we do. I mean, I want you to know that I have a rating. We have a rating scale that I'm using right now as part of our impact check. When I meet with each schools, that talks about our rating with the one-to-one initiative itself in terms of access, and the second is around instructional design. We have a team. We meet today. We meet every week, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks with Dr. Freeman, Ted, Larry, Mr. Hamill. I mean, we go through all of the issues that we've seen because we still have them. But you know, we're walking schools, and we feel really good at where we are in terms of our one-to-one rollout. I mean, in terms of our access. I mean, because we have surveys that schools have given. We do that with principals. That's part of my check with them. Now, in terms of what does that mean for test score, I don't have that. Do you know what I mean? I do know clearly about the level of engagement has increased dramatically. We talk about this all the time.
Are we looking at the level of engagement? I think Ms. Farmer had spoke about the after-school programs with the kids that are going in for tutoring and using the devices. Are we looking at those programs that kids are not using them at home but using them in other settings?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now here's what we're looking at is that the whole piece about connectivity, and that is, do I have internet access? I mean, that's kind of the question. In our surveys, our access, whether it's through an iPhone or et cetera, is pretty high. It's like 90-something%. Wow. And even with internet connection access, I call access to access. You know, I can't guarantee that when you get out of bed in the morning you can get access, but I want to make sure you have access to access. Mm-hmm. So our schools are surveying their individuals. I met with teachers the other day. I said, do you know who has access and who doesn't? Yes, and we're pretty clear that not to sign internet activities if I can't have someone access at home, but we have a download feature, so we're downloading our content. You know, I think that's going to be a full-scale evaluation when we get all the data, because we're still got some rollout. I mean, like Gaines is still going to roll out in January, just because of parent involvement.
Well, maybe one of the things staff can do is visit some of these sites and see firsthand what is going on with the devices.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right?
Go ahead, Greg.
You know, the concern, because you mentioned the 4 levels, and I do put the 5th level